Morning. So we're gonna do another cut test this morning. I have a lot of knives that I've gotten in the last couple months that I just haven't gotten a chance to cut test with. I won't do cut test with all of them, but there's one in particular here that I'm just dying to see how it performs. It's the Kizer G.P.B.1. This is a massive titanium frame lock. Look at that pivot. It's crazy, man. It's got external stops. They're also the thumb studs. Look at that. It's a thick, huge, beefy boy. It's very ergonomic. We got this choke up area right here. Nice little notch right there for your pointer or your middle finger, depending on where you're at. It's really comfy. It's not overly thick behind the edge. It's not crazy thick blade stock. It is thick. But I kind of just want to see how this thing performs. It's on washers. It's very smooth. It's more of a slow roller. I can thumb flick it, but I kind of got to give a little wrist. Let's get out there. Let's see how she does. Oh, S35 VN blade steel. Let's do it. All right. Holy crap and crap. I just recorded this whole voiceover and I pushed done at the end and it did not save it for some weird reason. It's done that twice to me now. I don't know why, but it's gone. Now I have to go back and redo it. Ah, gosh. So here we go. This is the Kizer G.P.B.1. I might have gotten that wrong in the intro, those series of letters, but it's the G.P.B.1. It's a John Gray design. He's a custom knife maker, and this is just Kizer's version of one of his customs. The letters stand for the Gray Pocket Brute #1. So this is the Gray Pocket Brute, and it absolutely is that. You can see we are cutting paper. This is the factory edge, and you will note as the video goes on that it's pretty much the only time this knife cut paper throughout the whole test. And that's not necessarily the blade steel's fault. It is the thickness with which the blade steel has been ground to. It's a very, very, it's just thick geometry. It doesn't really cut paper, even though the edge itself is actually pretty sharp. So we are cutting up some cardboard here. It's passing through pretty easily, a little better than I thought it would actually. I don't know why this part of the cardboard was giving me trouble. I think it got wet or something. It's like soggy. It feels weird to push through. Then it felt different than when I first started on this box. So I don't know. But it is passing through actually a little easier than I thought it would. But you know, if I was doing a lot of slicing, this wouldn't be the knife I'd pick up. However, if it's what I had in my pocket and I just had to slice, then it'll be fine. Ergonomically, I'm not really noticing any hot spots right away. I really like the choke up spot on this knife. It's real comfy. It feels good to put my hand there. So as you can see, we are kind of cutting paper, but yeah. By the time we try to cut the paper next, it will not be cutting paper at that point. That was a weird sentence. Okie dokie, let's get out the cutting board. Do some utility cutting. I'm not exactly sure what to call this blade shape. I would probably say a modified drop point. It's not exactly a sheep's foot to me, really, but it could be a modified sheep's foot too. Who knows? Regardless, it's got a relatively low tip, but because of the real thick geometry, it just doesn't do utility cuts super well. It does okay though, for sure. Doing some curvy bits, not bad. So kind of like with the slicing, I wouldn't pick it up to do a lot of utility cutting, but if it's in the pocket and you got to do some, you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. Yeah. It's kind of the case with most aspects of this knife. It's not like my first choice for any particular type of cutting, unless it's maybe like chopping or batoning. I think this would be good. But that's kind of it. It's just a really cool overbuilt knife. That's kind of what it has going for it. Let's make some leather sushi here. This actually felt really good. This kind of food prep style cutting where you kind of do a little bit of a rocking motion. It felt great, man, and it was really cutting nicely and cleanly. I might actually pick this up intentionally for some food prep style tasks. I like how this felt. Back to the paper. Not even really sure why I'm trying at this point. How about some rubber tubing? Similar kind of food prep style chop. Same motion, rocking. I like it. Feels good. Cut this rubber really nicely. How about some bungee cord? This stuff's pretty interesting to cut. It's got the center of the cordage, which is the rubbery, stretchy stuff, elastic, and then the outside is like a very finely stranded nylon. So when you're cutting it down on a flat surface like this, if you don't have a sharp edge, it like leaves behind one or two tiny little strands that kind of hang on to it. You'll see here in a second, like right there. See how we had a dangler? That's what happens if you don't have a nice sharp edge. So that's kind of an interesting little test, which the knife here actually did pretty good on. The strap, I didn't really know what to expect with this. You know, we have a good amount of cutting edge to get through the strap all the way. It's not kind of the ideal angle for the blade in relation to your hand. It's kind of angled back so you slip out a little bit quicker. But it actually cut almost all the way through, like 3/4 of the way. So that's really not too bad. And you're seeing here that, you know, even though it's not cutting paper, we're still sharp, man. That was like 7/8 of the way through. So that just kind of further proves that it's just too thick for paper, but it's still pretty sharp. Let's get some wood. This is a pocket brute, so it should be able to handle some light little chops here. Just kind of testing how the edge holds up. And I guess the solidity of the lockup as well. I was trying to push down through the top like batoning, but I didn't have anything to baton with, so didn't really think that went through all the way. Having the external stop pins is really nice for like kind of twisting motions like that. You know, it just really helps the blade be very, very stable in that side-to-side, you know, motion. That's why on the Hinderer XM18 Spanto, Rick says that you can pry with that knife, and because of the very thick tip and the fact that it has those external stop pins, which are also the thumb studs. He feels like he can handle it, so that's pretty neat. Not that I would probably ever pry with a knife. I've never been in a situation where I needed to pry something and I didn't have a Leatherman or a freaking stick or something else to pry with besides my knife. Perfectly centered. Lockup is still solid, nice and smooth on washers. One more time with the paper, and it's just not happening, obviously. So let's drop her on up and see if we can get it back. Get our edge back. All right, will it cut paper? Nope. Nope. Just not freaking happening. I mean, that time it kind of did, but yeah, this knife just, he don't like to cut paper. I got out the Sebenza just to make sure it wasn't the paper's fault. And yeah, the Sebenza did it fine. So it is it's just a thick geometry on this knife. And that's fine. Little bonus scene here. This is a block of wood on the ground there. I'm gonna drop it. This is kind of testing the lockup, you know. I guess when it jolts the knife, hitting when it buries itself in the wood, it could disengage the lock bar. I'm gonna throw it a couple times. It's kind of fun to do. Imagine if I missed and it just went tip down right into the concrete. I actually don't even think the tip would break it, even if that happened. So there you go. It's a tough knife, man. It's real tough. So in conclusion, this is a really fun knife. Not the most practical for most EDC type cutting tasks, but if you like big overbuilt knives, this is a pretty fun knife to own. You know, it's real smooth on washers. Just a tip, I did have to back off the pivot on mine when I first got it to be able to get this smoothness. Even though it's very smooth and drop shut now, because it's got the external stops, there's still no blade play. Still a solid lockup, so that's nice. Yeah, this is a cool one, man. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of this anytime soon. It's just fun to own. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please like the video before you head out today, and I'll see you soon. Adios.